Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Wednesday. Mr. Lawless is back with us again after his brief break last week after traveling back from his holiday. Judge Mo, aka Mo Gender, is here with us. How are you, gentlemen? You both well?
Very good, very good. I had rain in Cyprus, come back to the UK, rain, so I'm scared.
Yeah, we're good. You guys know what to do. First thing is that you guys have to like the video, subscribe, so we don't want to stop you in the middle of the video. You know what to do. You like the video now. Target is 1,000, 1,500 likes live, and we can get 2,000 likes or more if you're watching this in the replay. You know what to do. You stop the chat. You hit the like button now. It helps the video, it helps the channel, helps us, and it helps you to bring you more content. So the like button now is the most important thing. Let's get it
free.
up.
It's free.
It's free. Yeah. Let's do it.
Just get it smashed, people. Get it done. If you haven't done it already, get it done now. Let's get that up. Loads to talk about today. We're going to be looking at a big link of Kieran McKenna returning to Manchester United potentially as the United boss. There is concrete interest in him joining. We're, of course, going to take a look ahead at the title race, which will take another turn tonight as Arsenal take on Luton and Manchester City have a really big game against Aston Villa. We're going to look at some transfers as well with João Neves linked to Manchester United. Arsenal making serious concrete inquiries into the availability of Joshua Kimmich, which I think would be a huge coup for Arsenal to pull off. But I wanted to start today, gentlemen, with a topic which I wasn't actually that familiar about until Mo and I and Dan spoke a little bit earlier, sort of like a pre-show meeting. Conor Gallagher is obviously trending. There are a lot of accusations being thrown around on the internet towards him for being a bigot, being racist, being a racist. Chelsea have issued an official statement saying a clip has been taken out of context from their game at the weekend against Burnley. And I was really unaware of this. So I searched Gallagher's name. And there, I mean, I've seen the clip, which I'm going to play for everybody in a moment, but the clip's everywhere. There are accusations everywhere. Poch is now speaking about it in press conferences. And this is trending news within the sport. Conor Gallagher, as I say, it's trending news right now. And I think it would be wrong of us as a channel to ignore this. I saw lots of comments before we went live saying, are you going to talk about it? So we feel it responsible to do so. For full disclosure, this is the clip that's gone viral that has led to the statements from Chelsea and the accusations towards Conor Gallagher. We'll play it for you now. You can see, we'll play it one more time in case people missed it. There's a young mascot who has his hand up who wants to essentially shake hands with Conor Gallagher, and he was ignored. That clip has circulated, and there is anger everywhere from lots of people. And I wanted to throw it out to you first, Mo. The way Conor Gallagher is being spoken about, lots of pejoratives being thrown his way, very serious accusations being cast towards him. What's your take, having seen that clip and the reaction that it's got online?
First look, it's not a good look. Of course, as we said before, like we spoke about this before. I know it's a very tricky topic for a lot of people to talk about. I don't think it's racist at all. I think players are in their zone before the game. I think this was taken out of the context. There is another clip that is circulating with, or another picture. I think, Terry, we spoke about it. It is with him having his hand around the kid when they're walking on the pitch. I think this is taken out of context. Look at this. It's all right. It's okay. Just people want to accuse people with that. You got to be very sure about things before you accuse someone with something that is that bad. You know what I mean? Like, people nowadays just want to throw things around, just want to throw accusations around for clicks, for stuff. But the problem is you don't know what is going to happen. Whoever released that clip, now you got Pochettino talking about, you got Chelsea releasing a statement, you got the fans are angry about him. Of course, and it angers a lot of people because you put your wording out there, the way that you word that situation, the way you describe the situation, you might hurt someone who's not racist at all. You might hurt someone like Conor. You might hurt his career with some clip like this. I feel it's vile. Whoever put the clip out like this, you just want clicks. And I know that you're going to show the other picture because I don't think it's only Conor Gallagher. Someone chose the part of the clip to show, by the way, because there is another player before that. I don't want to burn everything, but in my opinion,
it does. I haven't seen the footage, but it does look like Raheem Sterling also walks past the mascot and doesn't shake his hand as well. And I think, for me, I agree with you 100%. It is not a good look when you see. I'm just going to put it up again here now. When you see this clip, it is not a good look. It really isn't a good look. You see him touch him on the shoulder, so he obviously acknowledges the kid here, puts his hand on his shoulder, he looks over. Could have paid him more attention. I'm not going to claim that he couldn't have done for a singular second. But it's a 5-second clip. I think it looks a bit rude. I think it looks wrong. Do I think Conor Gallagher is a racist because of this one bit of footage? Personally, I don't. I'd need to see far more evidence for him to be one. But I do think it's a terrible look. I do think it's a terrible look for him. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look good for Raheem Sterling walking past him either. I kind of get when players and clubs are leaving hotels, getting to airports, they can't stop for everybody. But the mascots, to walk past them, to not acknowledge them, I don't like that. Does it make Conor Gallagher a bigot? I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not. What's your views on it, Dan? Having seen a bit more of the footage, different pictures and angles.
Yeah, it's changed the perspective. My girlfriend came and showed it to me. I wasn't aware of it and she's not a football fan, so it went outside the football bubble and was like, "Oh, do you see this Conor Gallagher racism thing? Look, blah blah blah." And I'm looking at it over and over closely, and I'm trying not to just dismiss it and say it's not racist, or try not to jump on it and say it's racist. And I'm trying to analyze: does he touch the wall? Does he touch the kid? And then I just think about it and think, like, how stupid would he be, even if he was racist, to go, yeah, I'm going to ignore the black mascot in front of all these cameras and all these people. I'm going to make a conscious decision to go, yeah, I'm not shaking your hand. We've all been in them situations or seen them situations where someone gets left hanging, right? It's really cringeworthy. If I was Conor Gallagher, I would not sleep at night if I saw that footage, because it's painful, when to see, like, oh my gosh, I left them hanging. So I don't think there was this intention. I think Mo mentioned it being in the zone. And he goes and puts his arm around him afterwards. So it's not like, oh, I'm not touching you because of the color of your skin. I think it's just, absent-mindedness. And you look at it and he's looking around, and the kid puts his hand up higher, which is what I was thinking, how does he not see the hand? But it's all quick. It's all motion. So it's just social media, man. People use that as a way to get views and engagement and clicks and things like that. They jump on it.
Yeah, I want to add something to what Dan said. What Dan said and what Terry said are actually great points, but I just want to say something. So I just seen Terry the clip, actually not the picture, that shows Sterling walking by him, the first part of the clip. Someone chose to cut that part. This is a tunnel camera. It can have the whole clip, and it clearly shows that Sterling walked past the kid. But if they show that first second of the clip, the narrative.
Well, that's I've just watched it. You sent it to me, and you see Raheem Sterling walk past him,
and the kid is trying to
get his attention as well. And if the people that have originally put this out have cut that part out to create a narrative, then that is wrong on that is wrong on every single level. And the reason it's wrong on every single level is because, of course, racism exists in this world, and everybody should be doing everything in their power to fight back against it and to promote equality. But what you can't be doing within that fight is manipulating footage to create a problem which in that context didn't exist, because that damages those efforts in my view. And look, as I say, I agree with Lawless. I don't think it's a good look from Conor Gallagher. I know he acknowledges him and puts his hands on the shoulder, but shake the kid's hand. I know you're kind of in the zone, but you can shake his hand for a second. We've seen players recently put jackets over players when it's raining during national anthems and everything else, and lining up for league games. You can shake his hand. That element's there. But personally, I want to see... I look at life like this. When I see a clip like that, when I see a moment like that, and it can be, I might be on Twitter because I follow quite a few of these fight accounts that show fights. And whenever I see things, I don't know, a pupil attacking a teacher, I go, oh, that looked bad. My first thought is, what led to this? Where's the rest of the footage? What's the full story? I very rarely judge something based on a 10-second, 20-second, 30-second clip. It's why, funnily enough, the Football Terrace Clips channel most clips are between 8 to 15 minutes long. It's a segment of the show more so than a clip, because we kind of want to show people the full context of that conversation, not just 20 or 30 seconds. Twitter's a little different. I do 20, 30-second clips and put it out there for a little bit of fun. But I think it's okay when it's a fun subject. But if you're going to make a big accusation about somebody, I think you should be putting the full footage out. You should be putting all the pictures out. And then you let people make their minds up based on all the information. So I understand why Chelsea have stood by him. I understand why a lot of Chelsea fans will say this is a non-subject. I don't necessarily think it's a non-subject when Conor Gallagher's name is trending number one on sports, politics, and entertainment in the UK and in multiple countries around the world. I think you have to discuss it. I know it's a heavily sensitive subject. The Football Terrace as a platform, we've called out a lot of what we believe to be genuine racism in the past, and I still think there's a space here. If someone thinks it is and they want to express that in the comment section, they are free to do so as well. My personal feeling is this is an out of context clip. It's a bad clip. I don't think it's a good look for him or Chelsea, but I wouldn't personally label it as proof that Conor Gallagher is a racist. That's my view on it personally.
Even like, I don't think it's even. I don't look at it and I think, oh, Conor Gallagher's an arrogant arsehole because he hasn't done that. Because I don't think he's done that intentionally. There was, remember, I think it was like a couple of seasons ago, there was that big thing going around social media where all the Arsenal players, there was that kid waiting in the tunnel, and all the Arsenal players just walked past them. And there was a big thing, and then some people was dismissing it and saying, "Oh, it's not that bad." Blah blah blah. You know, now we've got this again. I genuinely look at that and I think, yeah, he's not done that on purpose.
Well, yeah, and the reason that I say that is because there was one of Man United players ignoring fans in a hotel, and then Man United had to release a statement, and the context came out, and the context was the club has informed players to not stop, because when you stop, it then creates crowds. And for health and safety reasons, they are told by the insurance companies that insure the club when they're away to not do that, because if somebody gets hurt, the club can be sued. And so it becomes, it's not a pathetic reason, it's a real life reason to do it. It's annoying, I think, because the players would like to stop, but they're told to do it. Knowing that, it changes the whole context of that clip, and nobody made huge accusations of related to bigotry. But I think the principle remains the same, that your job has to be, why has this happened? How regular is this? I mean, I don't know. As I say, I stand by what I've said.
One of the things
if more information comes out and there's these really bad stuff that he's into and things that he said and done, then I'll condemn it. I'll be the first to condemn it. But I can't be calling someone a racist based off of what we've seen, the full context so far. I just think it's a mistake. I think he should have shook the kid's hand 110%. But I don't know if the accusation.
If I was him, I'd go.
I want to add something about this. To be honest with you, if I saw this right, this is the official tunnel cam from Chelsea Football Club at Stamford Bridge on the Burnley game. Someone have his hand on it. Someone that works for Chelsea, because not the fans don't control that tunnel cam. Someone cut that video, released that part of that video intentionally. Cut that part and only release that part to somebody to put it on Twitter. That got Sky Sports talking about, that got the Football Terrace, that got all the media outlets talking about it. Someone wanted to create the narrative inside Chelsea. Otherwise, why is this clip released?
No, that clip that you saw out is what's on TV. That I think that's come from a TV channel, where somebody is. The clips we're seeing also look like people have recorded their TV screens as opposed to the actual footage. And I'm sure Chelsea have gone and probably looked at it before releasing their statement, because you wouldn't want to, no matter how much you trust a player, you'd still go and if there was an altercation at my work, a KJ said, "Oh, I did X, Y, and Z. I didn't do A, B, and C, but there's CCTV." Before I make a public statement, I'm checking the CCTV, because you don't want to back someone. You check the footage, you're like, oh my God, I've been lied to, and now I've made a statement. So yeah, look, it's one of those things for me, which I think it's a misrepresentation, and clearly out of context, because there's more to it. And maybe people will still have that opinion of him after they've seen all the context, and that is their right to. But you can't just look at 5 seconds and not look at the footage afterwards or before. And ignore all of that, in my humble opinion. But viewers, let us know what you think and what you feel. What's that? Terry, I will only smash the like button if you bring people on to Cook Will, or you will stop inviting that Ben Shapiro wannabe. Again, people have got every chance to try and cook. I mean, the viewers definitely cooked Will last night when he said that the rain was a factor in Spurs not beating West Ham. So he said, because obviously Son couldn't shoot as well because it was raining and it's harder because of physics to kick a ball in the rain.
Wow.
So, he definitely got cooked. We all got cooked for that. I would say. He did say it's not an excuse, but he used it as a reason why.
Why mention it? Why bring it up?
I don't know.
It's not an excuse, but you know what I mean? It made it harder. Come
on. Jim says the clip proves nothing, Terry. It's a terrible clip. Listen, I agree. I agree. It's not a good look when you look at the full context or full context of what we've seen. I agree. I agree. Racists don't do that in the open. I mean, some do, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but in that
people do. Some people
a lot of racists will go down and work on the building site with black people and have banter with them and be friendly with them, but they're still racist. They're racist in secret, and they don't go and be racist to you. If that's what they're like, they're not going to sit there and because a lot of racists are cowards, you know. So yeah, I think it'd be very stupid.
Yeah. Jack here says not racist, just an overplayed, egotistic player as per. Look, do you know what? This is what I would love to ask. If I'm in the room interviewing the players about this, one of the questions you have to ask is there have been a number of occasions, players at hotels, players before games, being a little dismissive of the mascots. I'd ask why. I think what the answer would be is that we just get so into the zone, although we know they're there, we're almost trying not to acknowledge them because we want to stay in a certain mindset. And I don't necessarily think that's wrong in many ways. As much as you want to see the mascot interacted with in the right way, the irony in it is if we had all the players laughing and joking with mascots regular, and then they went out there and lost, wouldn't we then get fans say, focus on the game, stop messing around beforehand? I feel like you're sort of damned if you do sometimes, and you'd be damned if you didn't. But
the thing is, I don't know if it's the same with
fans are fickle.
I don't know if it's with Chelsea or your clubs, but our club, we charge kids to be mascots. The kids have to pay, like families have to pay to be mascots.
Oh, really?
So like a good amount of money. So if you pay all that money, you want an experience. You want to interact with the players and the players to be nice to you and high five you and all of that. Otherwise, you know, what are you paying all that money for? So again, I don't know if that's the same for Chelsea, but yeah, like I understand being in the zone, but you're paying money, especially, and it's nothing. You know, give that kid a memory of a lifetime. It's just a little acknowledgement comes up.
No, I get that. But yes, there we go. Moving on to other news today. There are big talks that Manchester United are interested and are serious about bringing Kieran Mckenna, the current manager of Ipswich, who, by the way, is doing absolute wonders, by the way, in the championship with Ipswich. He was a coach under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's now heavily linked to the Manchester United job. Some stories are starting to circulate. His name has been linked to the Man United job as far back as November, and an individual that's going to be featuring very, very soon on the Football Terrace with very, very credible sources sent me through a number of screenshots today from messages he had received as far back as the 3rd of November, talking about Kieran Mckenna marked as a possible replacement in the dugout. And then on the 15th, Sam Potter is top of their list, with McKenna is second and Ruben Auer in third. And then on the 13th of December, another confirmation that McKenna's name is on the list. And now the mainstream media are starting to run with this story. Dan, what's your take on the thought on the idea of Man United going after an ex-coach, yes, but a current championship manager to potentially replace Erik ten Hag?
I mean, it's a very risky move, and it does scream a bit like, I don't know, almost a bit like Man United of old. But if this new setup, the new director of football, all of this have sit there and looked at him beyond, oh, he's doing well with, you know, a team without much resources. Imagine what he could do if we gave it to him. But looking at him and how he plays football and how he improves and develops players, then maybe. But I can't see this being the manager that comes in and clicks straight away. I understand Man United fans say it's not about immediate results. We want to see style of play. We want to see things implemented. Maybe he can do that, but it's a bit, it's very unexpected for me. I did not see this being the move that they went for. I thought they was going to go, right, let's go get big proven. So yeah, look, fair play. It's a risky one. I personally can't see it working out. But it's all about the infrastructure that's being improved in the club, and they seem to be making those moves. So that's the big thing. And then, yeah, look, hopefully it works. He hasn't really got Ipswich over the line. They've always been a nearly team in the Championship, Ipswich, even under his tenure. And this season could be the season. Maybe he gets them over the line this season, but you kind of want to have some experience of, right, you've achieved. Do you know what I mean? Rather than being the nearly.
So for every Ange Postecoglou that comes from the Scottish League and coached the Australian national team and the Japanese League and stuff like that, there is a Frank Lampard and there is the Vincent Kompany's and there is the Steven Gerrards. And I think Man United in the next move should not risk someone like this. I don't watch a lot of Championship football, but we have seen Vincent Kompany tear the Championship apart last season. Absolutely sensational style of football as well. Like Vincent Kompany with a good style of football. And then he went to the Premier League, yes, with a weaker team, Burnley, but we see the style doesn't work. He's not adaptable. I think he doesn't have enough experience. I think it's an uncalculated risk if Man United takes that move to hire someone like this as the head coach at the current moment. I know that you're speaking about long-term plans and all this stuff. Man United fans aren't patient. Man United fans will not be patient, will not wait if the team is like 6th, 7th, 8th. They won't wait. Man United is one of these clubs that you have to have some form of success along the way of a process, if you want to call it a process. You cannot be the team that goes 8th, 9th and say, I'm improving. Man United needs Champions League football. Man United need maybe win some cups. So this is a very, very uncalculated risk. I believe this is a wrong move. It might work, like if you can call Ange Postecoglou's time at Spurs working, but more likely than not, these moves like the Lampards, the Gerrards, they don't move. They don't work. They don't work well, and they end up in a disaster, and they end up in destroying someone's career, a coach's career, actually.
I get where you're coming from. What's really interesting is maybe about 5 weeks ago now, we spoke. And there was the rumor going around that Zidane was a player that manager that Ineos like. But we all agree that the likelihood of that is very low. And you spoke about how Man United isn't really an attractive proposition. I sort of push back a little bit on that, but I'm always one to reflect on a situation and say, actually, looking at the managers Man United are and the managers that we are heaviliest linked to, and Nigel and some of the people that I'm talking to that have got very good connections in football that are starting to work close with the football terrace. When I'm sitting, Amorim's name is in the top 3 who's done very, very well at Sporting. But when I'm looking at the names of managers that are in their sort of top 2, top 3, it's very gettable individuals. We're not seeing Simeone's name. We're not seeing Inzaghi's name. Of course, we're not seeing Zidane's name near that top 3, which makes me, I think it's one or two things. I don't think those managers want us right now. I think you were right 4 or 5 weeks ago when you said, I don't think Man United's attractive to the tip-top managers, because we do need a full rebuild. But if we were an attractive proposition from the beginning of a rebuild to someone like an Inzaghi, to somebody like a Zidane, somebody like a Simeone, Man United would still have the power to bring them in if we were attractive as a rebuild, because they know the situation. It's a rebuild as opposed to almost a ready-made team that needs a few minor adjustments to it, or a successful team that's losing a manager like Liverpool that just needs, a quality person to sort of head the ship, as it were. Kieran, my biggest fear with Mckenna is a lack of experience. He's been a manager for 2 years. Look, I think he's got a 58, 59% win ratio. He got promoted last year from League One. First time of asking if he wins the championship this year. I'm not saying it qualifies him to be a Man United manager per se, but to win the league and beat all the relegated teams, to get him back up with all the parachute money they have, the squad strength they have, second year into his management is a good achievement. The style of football is very good. Now, I agree when you use the example of company, it's not working, but companies with the same team and same players and hasn't changed his philosophy. Would Vincent Kompany's style of play work with a better quality group of players? Maybe. And I do get your point. For every Postecoglou, there is a Lampard or a Gerrard. But the Lampards and the Gerrards, I almost feel, I'm not saying it's different, but it's, what did they have before becoming managers? What was their background? Like Postecoglou isn't the same as a Lampard or a Gerrard. Although it wasn't managing at the highest level, he's got
20 years. He has 20 years of experience.
20 years of experience. With Mckenna, he has 9 years of experience of coaching and managing. So coached and managed the Spurs under 18s, the Man United under 18s for 8 years. He was then an assistant coach in the first team of Man United for 3 years under Jose and under Oli. Then he's become a manager and worked under Jose, which I think is also an integral part. The point I'm making is that he isn't a Lampard or a Gerrard that's gone from nothing to managing a club for a season in Derby and then becoming Chelsea manager. There is still a plethora of experience of coaching and managing. I still, by the way, and according to, when you actually look at the, I spoke to the sources about this today, and their view is he's lower down the priority list because the worry is his lack of experience. So that is there. But at the same time, beggars can't be choosers. And if we can't attract the top managers right now, I understand why somebody like him is on the list. And the question I would ask you this now, and I'll throw this to Dan as a West Ham fan. If you were told you could have Graham Potter or Mckenna as your next manager, genuinely, who would you pick, knowing what you know?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think Potter's time at Chelsea is a bit of a black mark. I think anyone, though, really would fail there. But this is the thing. I think Mckenna, there's a step between, Ipswich and Man United, and maybe we're that step. I've always been interested in, after Moyes, maybe getting that next quality manager from the Championship. I really wanted Kompany, and I still think that there's a lot of upside in Kompany. And again, it's just, he is not the right manager for Burnley to stay in this league. He's just not with what they've got. So I would lean towards Mckenna for the fresh sort of, that sort of unknown factor. Then, we've looked at Potter. He flew too close to the sun and got burned. But yeah, so I may lean there for sure. And style of play is big for me as well. So yeah, I would give him a chance. But for Man United, again, this is a different level of pressure. And yeah, I just think that he needs to, if I'm Mckenna, take that step between, whether it's us, whether it's a Newcastle or Brighton, something like that. That's what he needs to do.
I hear you. It's funny because I just had a message of my guy as well, and he said he's definitely behind the likes of Potter, Southgate, Almiron. But he goes, but Almiron is now on to become the Liverpool manager.
Would you have Mckenna or Southgate, Terry? That's an interest. He's behind Southgate.
I would go for Mckenna over Southgate, and the reason I would pick Mckenna over Southgate is because the style of football I've seen from Mckenna in the last 2 years. How, by the way, he was coaching players, but he was coaching them based on Ollie's. So someone in the comments said, why would you want Ollie ball back? Ollie was instructing how the team played. McKenna's being told how to coach for that style of play. Go back and watch how the nice football the under 18s were playing under McKenna. Go and look at the nice football that Ipswich play. If I'm going to risk it on managers of this ilk, I'm going for a manager that has a pedigree of playing better football. I'm not Southgate for me. Listen, I would take Potter 100 times over Southgate. I would take McKenna 100 times over Southgate because Southgate's football is too negative. That for me is a no-no purely on. If England played really nice football but still failed to get over the hill, and by the way, we're talking in the context of we can't attract the biggest managers in the world right now. To say we can't, that's the hypothesis we're sitting within. If Southgate played beautiful football, having managed England at the level he has, I'd probably favour him because that's still a high-pressure job. But the football's so bad, I don't see the mileage in it. I'd much rather McKenna than Southgate, 110%. I really would.
How the mighty have fallen.
Well, but mate, we have fallen. You know what? Staffy said this the other day, mate. It is painful when I see a lot of people say, "Well, Terry, just stick with Ten Hag." No, and there's a comment that came through a minute ago that I want to. Terry McKenna plays around football. That's why but he doesn't. Go watch Ipswich play. Ipswich are playing lovely football. Again, for a club their size, with their budget, with the players they have, they're playing some really nice football. And this is what someone said a minute ago, and it's such an interesting take, and I want to read it out because I'm not triggered by it. I just want to say, it goes, this is what it says. Terry is so reactionary. When things get tough, I love that. I haven't seen someone write the word things like that since I was about 15. That's how we used to text each other back in the day. I bet you did as well, Dan. I bet you did as well. Or when you said think with an F on it, F-I-N-K, think.
Actually, I predict text on, so.
Did you? Yeah, I didn't have that when I was younger. When things get tough, he can't cope and gives up. Calls it quits and says manager out. He never learns. Well, Mario, this is where your claim is wrong, because I've never been. Every time a manager has to go, I've said they've had to go when the relationship with their squad has broken down. But every single time, and my viewers will confirm this, if you've been watching long enough, you're either lying or you've not been watching long enough, that just changing manager won't fix Manchester United. The biggest reason I think Ten Hag has got to go above everything else is I believe he's too intertwined with the toxicity that has existed at this club, and it's all going to be cleared out. And I think that for us to improve as quick as possible, I think we need a new coaching staff. I think we need to clear out the deadwood players. I think we need part of the recruitment to go. We need the doctors to go. The board is leaving as we know, as we sort of know it, and the football decision makers are going. I think a complete clear out is needed, and we have to start afresh. That is what Man United need to do. So this isn't just about sack the manager and we will improve as a club. It's far bigger than that. So to say that it's reactionary it is beyond disingenuous as far as I'm concerned. But to your point, Mo, the mighty have fallen. And Staffy said this on a show last week. And he might be right completely, and it has changed my perspective from being angry to more understanding. Now, I'm not buzzing about being linked to these managers. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there thinking, I can't wait. I'm overly excited. But maybe
Mckenna, you're going to win the league.
No, but I don't think anyone we're linked to is necessarily going to win us the league. But when I'm being honest, maybe Man United need to take a step back. We have tried on so many occasions to buy the star players, bring in the star managers, bring in the big names in the last decade, and we've failed. And what do they say the definition of insanity is? Trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If we really need to rebuild from the beginning, and I'm not talking about putting in new wallpaper, buying a new flat screen TV. You're talking about knocking the structure down, digging out the foundations and starting from a blank canvas. Maybe we can't, as much as Man United, we're Man United, maybe we can't attract. Maybe it isn't right for the managers who are at the top of that level. Maybe we do have to start lower down the pecking order, build something for 2 or 3 years where the football's good, the culture's good, the attitude's good. There isn't as much winning as we would like. And then either that manager keeps getting better, sort of what Arteta has done, or you say, thank you so much, Potter. Thank you so much, McKenna. You've got us to this stage. Now, Inzaghi, whoever it may be, Alonso is interested because we've built something and we're the club people want to manage again. That is not a theory that is delusional, in my opinion, because we have been dead for so long and we need to make sure we get it right. And as I say, I'm not going to be I'm not overexcited about these managers we're linked to. But what I'm also not going to do is get my bum crack out, start throwing my toys out the pram and acting like it's the biggest mistake that we've ever made. I kind of like the idea that it's very different from anything else that we've done prior. So I'm going to give it some time because doing what we've done for the last 10 years hasn't worked. So why would I advocate that exact same behavior from a brand new group of people? We've been asking for football decision makers. We're kind of happy with the football decision makers we've got. And this appears to be what they're deciding is the best thing to fix the club. So I'm just going to wait and see. I'm not saying, again, I'm not going to sit here and go, we're winning the league again next year. We're going to be better than Arsenal, better than City. Equally, I'm not going to sit there and say we're doomed. We're going to be in a relegation battle. Now, if we do and it goes wrong, I'll call it out. But I'm just going to keep my powder dry to a certain level because I've been asking for these people to come in and run the club. I'm going to give them a little bit of time to get it right or get it wrong, as opposed to just completely flying off the handle straight away. I suppose, and someone here says toxic positivity. No, it isn't that at all.
No,
because
I'm
not being overly positive about it and saying, "Oh my God, it's amazing," and if you can't see it, go and support Man City. Again, you guys try to banter, learn how to do it properly. Sorry, you're going to say something, Mo.
Yeah, finally, some Man United fans, and it's not only Terry, but some Man United fans are seeing the light. I said before on this show that Man United fans, the majority of them or some of them, are actually entitled. The problem with Man United fans, your generation, my generation, Lola's generation, and even a little bit the younger ones than us, is that we grew up a Man United winning dribbles, league titles, Champions League semi-finals, finals. So some of the fans have never seen the club not winning. They just grew up on the club winning. When you go one season without a trophy, Man United fans used to say that's a failure of a season. But finally, some of the Man United fan base are realizing that it's not only like this, which is some of the Barcelona fans, the young ones, starting to realize that it's not Messi. Like we don't have Messi anymore. Some Man United fans, which is what you just said, that we gotta trust who's running the club now. They have the key. They have the keys now. We're gonna make them make decisions. We're seeing the board and everything is just doing well and hiring the right people. We don't have to win now. The problem is, are the social media gonna let you do that? Or the banter isn't gonna stop. It's gonna trigger people. It's gonna trigger Man United. The problem with this day and age is that the millions and millions of followers on Twitter and on the social media and the watch TV, they're gonna be triggered. If this manager comes in and be six, they're gonna be bantered. They're gonna be mocked. They're gonna put pressure on the manager. They aren't gonna wait. Are Man United fans mature enough to know that this is a process? It might take time. You might not be in the Champions League. I think that's the risk, but I'm glad that I'm hearing you and the rest of the Man United fan base accepting what's going on.
The answer, there's a yes and no to this. There are some Man United fans that won't be patient, but there are some Man United. These are the same Man United fans who, in my opinion, they either want us to be the best team in the world so they can flex, because Man United are more of a fashion accessory to them than a club they support. They either want us to be the best team in the world so they can flex and laugh at everybody else and say, because you got this. There's a percentage of every club's fan base where they want to be the best team so they can pretend that it means that their understanding of football is better. You'll always get people say, "Well, what do you know about football, Dan? You're a West Ham fan," as if that makes your knowledge of the game less. You get that arrogance. Those same arrogant people, though, they either want to be the best so they can flex, or they're happy to be rubbish because it means they can be angry, and that is how they generate attention online. That's what it always comes down to. I'm not really worried about those individuals. There will be patience from the majority of the Man United fans if we genuinely see progression. So let's say it's Potter that comes in and we're not quite good enough to win the league. We're not quite good enough maybe to make the top four first season. But say that football looks good. Say we are moving that ball well. Say there is a good structure in and out of possession and we're playing better football. We're controlling more games and we're improving as a football team. There'll be patience. The reason why I think most of the managers at Man United have been turned on very quickly is because there's one thing, and I know it's a bit of a buzzword in this day and age, that everybody says sustainable football. But to bring that buzzword to life, to give it some character and some features, there hasn't been a single manager yet who's had us playing football where anyone, including Man United fans or rivals, genuinely looks at it and believes, I can see this team getting better and better and better and better with extra quality that they add to this team. That is what the new ownership, the football decision makers and the new coach have to get right quickly. Big Ange Postecoglou is a prime example. I got this wrong. A lot of Spurs fans got this wrong. We were like, what are they doing bringing him in? But the reason why, look, they're in a fifth place position, which is near a Champions League spot. By the way, top 5 gets you Champions League now, which will help more teams get in. But what's helped Tottenham has been the quality of the football. If they were in this position with this many points, but the football was like Antonio Conte's, there would still be a lot of Spurs fans unsure. But because they've seen good quality football, because they've seen what the future could look like as they add better quality to this squad, there's a buy-in to the guy. And that's what Man United, in my opinion, have got wrong in the last decade as almost a starting point. If Ten Hag would have coached this team to play his brand of football, and we were moving the ball well. We looked good in and out of possession, but we just weren't quite good enough to win the major trophies because we needed additional players, he'd be backed by the majority. The difference is the football is completely unsustainable, and every week we get a different Man United. The team that turns up to play against Chelsea will not play the same way against Liverpool at the weekend and will not play the same way the game after that. And I think that's our issue, Mo. So if they want to get genuine buy-in from the masses, it's about how the football looks partly, but can you see it growing and getting better from this point? And if Mckenna or Potter or Almiron or Alonso, I'm just throwing names out, if whoever it is that comes in, they have to get that right and quickly. I don't believe it takes a manager 2 years to get his style of play to start showing through. You should be seeing it within a handful of games. Within a handful of games, you as fans should go, I can see what he's trying to do. And then I think fans buy into it personally.
Is there a reason that you seem to be prioritizing a British manager? Because the way I look at it, there's big question marks over British managers in this country. The only one to win the league in this country is Sir Alex. And look, British managers can, you know, they can improve and can maybe finally start to get to the point where they can coach the big clubs and get over the line. But so far, we haven't seen it. So I'm very curious at why, you know, we're seeing Southgate, McKenna, Potter. Like, why this lean towards it? Is that intentional, or are these just the managers that they think are going to be the best choice for the club, or is it a British thing?
So looking at a lot of the reports that have come out, names like Zidane, names like Almiron, of course, who's in their top three. I think Alonso's name's been mentioned. There is talk now of Nagelsmann as well, now being involved in this. So what we spoke about today is one source who said this. There are other sources out there that have mentioned Nagelsmann. This source has said that Almiron is within the top three. But a number of the international managers that you would look at, or the French, the Spanish, whoever, Portuguese managers, Liverpool are going to get Almiron over Man United. So what are we going to? I think there's an element here that where Mo has been right of the better guys we just can't get. Like, genuinely, I think there's an element of that. I don't think there's a blanket approach of we just want a British manager. Was
it not reported that Jim Radcliffe was leaning British? Was that a report I've made up in my head? I'm sure I saw something like that.
For me, that was a slight. There is a report that said that. It can't be true though if all the reports are showing that within his top 5 list of managers, there's three guys that are not British. If that makes sense, I think that there's an element there of that. I think what is true within it is that, again, and the person that he's bringing in to run the club as his CEO is a Omar Barada. I want to say he's either Spanish or French Moroccan, one of the two. That's about as far away from being British as you can be, right? So I think there's some truth to it, but then most English clubs have an element of a British core within their internal structure or within their team, the same as most Spanish clubs, most Italian clubs, most Portuguese clubs have that as well. So I don't think it's weird. I just think over here in the UK, I certainly do something. We're all a bit weirded out by it, but every other nation, I think if you go through most Italian clubs, there's a lot of there's the core is Italian, generally speaking. Yeah, so I don't necessarily think it's a big problem. As I say, that the CEO is not British, as an example. Some of the managers we're linked to are not British. A lot of the players we're going to sign, one of the stories today is that we're heavily linked, or one of our number one midfield targets this year that I wanted to actually ask you both about is the young guy João Neves of Benfica. So I don't believe this idea that everything we do and everyone we sign is going to be British. But yeah, so I get your question though, but I don't necessarily believe it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, understandable.
What was the last English manager that was actually good? English, not British. Not
English manager. I mean, yeah, because the good ones have all been Scottish.
Yeah.
Who was the last English manager?
David Moyes is not English. English.
No, it's talking about English
manager.
Harry Redknapp would probably be the last one that I'd say is good.
Well, the Spurs one, Harry Redknapp, quarterfinal of the Champions League. That's what you say is good.
FA Cup winner with Portsmouth as well. They're
good. Also Cup winner with West Ham.
Yeah, I'd say good manager. Last great English manager Probably Brian Clough. Like great managers, and that was. I mean, he retired in the early 90s, so. George Graham.
Roy Hodgson was not that. Roy Hodgson coached Inter, coached. I think if I'm.
Roy Hodgson was a good manager.
He didn't succeed inside. That's the thing. He didn't succeed in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'd put him as a good. Again, I'd just say good manager. I'd put him into that category. But the last great English manager, I can't think of anyone after Brian Clough. I mean, again, I love Venables, God rest his soul, because of Euro '96, but he wasn't a great manager. Oh no, he went to Barcelona and did bits. So you could throw Terry Venables into that category. Someone here saying Kevin Keegan. Kevin Keegan wasn't a great manager. Come on, what did he win?
Bobby Robson.
Bobby Robson. Yeah, Bobby Robson. It's been a long time. It's been a very, very, very long time since that.
I know we have topics. Why do you guys think that is happening in the last 25 years? What happened to English managers? What happened? Why English footballers cannot go and be like Xavi, for example, who won La Liga, like Zidane?
I'll tell you why. English football started to change when we started to bring over more influences from across the world. And I think English football became better because we brought Brazilians and Spanish and Portuguese players and whatnot from around the world. The problem we had is that for a long time at grassroots level, we didn't change how we played. So the setup of St. George's Park and the current crop of English players that you're now seeing have been brought up at academies playing a very different brand of football to every generation before them. It's why players now may not be as good as some of the previous, but the technical ability of players now is at a different level to what it used to be. I've gone to watch League One football this year a little bit with my brother watching Orient. You should see how they play at that level. When I grew up as a kid, at that level, everything was long ball into the channels and the big man. Now they have got patterns and they're passing and there is shape and that possession. There's pressing. It's not like it used to be. And that's because British and English coaching has had to change because English football has changed. But I think there was a massive 15 or 20 year period where the coaches essentially became out of date with what was winning at the highest level of the game. What you might now see, and only time's going to tell over the next 5, 10, 15 years, is more English and British managers that come through that have a brand of football that matches how you win at Premier League level and Champions League level. That's all I really think it's down to is football changed, but the way we were teaching managers, coaches and players in England was so far behind the curve, it's unbelievable. So I think it's something along those lines for me personally.
Are you interested in Gary O'Neill at all?
Again, I like Gary O'Neill. I like how he plays football. I like him. I mean, again, if you're asking me Gary O'Neill or Southgate, I'm probably picking Gary. I'm probably picking Gary O'Neill.
You would choose Dan Lawless over Southgate. That's
I would.
Because I believe like the problem with Manchester United is something that before we move on is that people need to understand that not every coach and not every club will come and play Pep Guardiola's brand of football. It's not going to be position-based football 70%. Like, for example, Inter, we conceded the least amount of goals. We scored the most amount of goals, but we're 6th in terms of ball position. We are 4th in terms of passes completed in the league. We just have a different style of play that play every game. Just people have to understand that not every coach is the same. Not every successful coach is a position-based football. Zidane is not a position-based football. Not every coach is gonna be a student of Pep Guardiola. Klopp is not that guy. And I think that people need to understand this, and I think people need to open their minds a little bit that there are different styles of football. Yes, Erik ten Hag said transition-based football, but he's not playing it. But people need to open their eyes of like and open their minds of like different ideas, different brands of football around. David Moyes, for example, specific style of play that is working. It's actually working for West Ham. I'm not saying that Man United should play that style of play, but at least he has a style of play. But people need to understand that it's not all Artetas and Pep and Xavis around the world. There are other coaches around the world. There is the Ancelotti, there is the Inzaghi's.
No, I agree.
They are different.
I agree. I agree. But I think the problem English managers struggled with is when I don't know what percentage of the Premier League became like sort of foreign, as it were. And I'm going to get the stat wrong, but I read somewhere once 60 to 70%. which again I have no issue with. Like, so when it comes to England, there's a lot of England fans that only want an English man to manage England. I couldn't give a damn as long as we're winning. It doesn't bother me. But if British coaches are trained to teach football in a particular way, but then you look at the Premier League and coach it a certain way, and the Premier League has got the majority of players that play in a different way, it's not conducive. Does that make sense? And I think it's just we were behind the curve, and I think that's changing. I do agree. I think there's also more than one way to play football. And I think that should be embraced more. But there we go. That link I mentioned earlier, Man United looking at João Neves as a replacement for Casemiro in the summer. What's your thoughts on him, Jen? Do you think that would be I mean, I know he's young, but do you think that would be a good investment for Man United this summer?
What's the price tag we're talking about? Do you know what? Funny enough, when I first read the title, I thought it was João Felix. You said you was going for.
I did, and I changed it. I wrote João Felix by mistake, but yeah, João Neves, 19 years old. You're looking at a price tag of about 85 million.
Promising looking player, exciting to watch, but it's a lot.
Why?
That's a lot.
Why? The difference between Manchester City and Manchester United. Manchester City can afford to buy Gvardiol for 77 million pounds because they have the Nathan Akes, they have the Diaz, they have the Akanjis, they have the Walkers. You don't. You need an experience. Like you have Kobe Mainoo. That's the upcoming and rising star, right? This kid is 19 years old. To spend 85 million of your budget on a 19 years old, I think you need to go for the 26s and the 25 years olds. They're ready now. And listen, I don't want you I don't think I'm just going to give you an example. You need to go for the players that are like the Barellas, you know what I mean? The Zubamendis, the people that played. It's more. I think Zubamendi is 22, if I'm not mistaken. Someone that is Frankie De Jong, for example. Go Frankie De Jong. Why 19 years old? I don't. Yet I think it's an investment. If he's going to be an understudy to someone else, but why 19 years old? The team is
I'm
already
not trying to
struggling.
sell my own player, but Paquetá has got an 85 million pound release clause.
Yeah,
that's
it.
João Neves is more of a holding midfield. I like Paquetá, by the way. He's a holding midfield player. I do agree with what you're saying, but both of you, I feel I really like the look of this kid. He looks so talented. But what, he's going to play next to Kobe? You're going to have 18. It doesn't make. This is a story that's out there. But again, I look at football decision making. I would rather risk, if we're going to sign a midfielder for that amount of money, let's go and get Paulinho from Fulham. Let's go and get him.
Yeah.
At his age, still got years left in his legs. Like that for me is what you go and do. Or, you know, as you say, someone 26, 27, 28. Mainoo is going to need so much support. I feel the idea of sticking a 19-year-old next. I look at what Chelsea have done, and I think, please, oh God, don't. That is more of a mistake for me than bringing in Mckenna as a manager. Bringing in two kids is not going to... I just don't see it work. I know there's a lot of hype around him, but that's the type of signing you make if we've got 26-year-old Casemiro, if we've got a brilliant midfield already, and you've got, right, we're going to buy this kid now, and we're going to nurture him for the next 2 or 3 years, bring him into this team. I don't think it's a signing for now. I agree. I like him, but for me, I just think about. I keep thinking about Caicedo and Enzo together, and how much, I know Chelsea fans hate this, but how much they struggle together, massively because of their age and their lack of experience. If you stuck Paulinho next to either of those guys, they would look better because they'd have that experience around them to nurture them and bring them through. And I want him, but I don't want him at the same time, if that makes sense. It's like...
Look at the guy that... Like, I don't like Alvarez a lot. That XIS, the current West Ham player. I don't like him a lot, like the Mexican guy.
Why?
But I just don't like his style of play, to be honest. Since
I
watched him live. I watched him live, but he suits your team, to be honest. He suits David Moyes. But I'm talking about the age, the experience. The age and the experience, to be honest. Someone like that wouldn't cost you 80 million pounds. It just wouldn't. Just get someone like this at least. I'm not. There are a lot of prospects around the world, and this, and the 85 million is too much. I think if Manchester United are heading into this direction of signing, because people have to remember that Garnacho is 19 or 20, Rasmus Højlund is 21, Kobe Mainoo is 18. Right? We have to realize that they need more experience around them. It's just it's as simple as you need more experience. I think this is the wrong decision, and I don't think it's going to happen. Actually, I don't think Jim Ratcliffe and the guys around him will.
No, I agree. I agree. I agree.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's just a link to excite people. To be honest, I don't think Man United are going to go for a 19 years old and pay 85 million pounds because he played one season in Benfica. Listen, this is not going to happen. This is not Todd Bowley though running the club. You know what I mean? Like, this is not Todd Bowley.
I know. I agree. I don't personally see it happening either. And I just, again, like I said, I want it to. I want the player. But there's a famous Barry Manilow song, and there's a great line in it that says, "The right love at the wrong time." And he's the right player, but at the wrong time for Man United. And big up Bazza, by the way. Some super chats here. Jay here says, Terry, I'm tired of having to defend you in your YouTube comments against the United fan base. Tell them to sit down and stop mocking you over Arsenal. Look, everybody knows I don't actually support Arsenal, but I'm going to defend things that are said about them that are wrong, especially things that rewrite football, as an example. Like the other day saying that title contenders don't go away from home against their fellow title contenders and draw. Making that as a statement on the biggest radio station in the world with 10 million listeners is a disgrace. So I'm going to call it out. Equally, there are some Man United fans that back Ten Hag and they don't like that I say that he has to go. I'm going to say this about Man United. When it comes to Man United, my overarching view on what we need to do to improve has been right every single time we've gone through this with a manager. Sticking by the manager was never going to work. Sacking the manager was never going to work. It is about rebuilding everything at the same time. That is what I want. It's not about one manager out, one manager in. It's a much bigger situation. Aya here says, Terry, you're 100% right. I told Man United fans this. Us fans have an issue with separating the emotional narratives we create in our heads from reality. Ten Hag hasn't shown any evidence to suggest he needs more time and money. I agree. I don't think, even if he wins the FA Cup, it's not enough. Progressing the way we play football is where the major winning is eventually going to come from. Can we stop calling possession football pet ball? It's more Cruyff total football than pet ball.
I'm 39 years old, bro. I haven't watched a lot of Cruyff football. Come on, I'm gonna call it pet football.
But you are watching Cruyff football. I suppose. Well, this is what's happening in the generations. This happens with music, doesn't it? You know, I see people like when Usher performed at the Usher's my generation, by the way. But when I saw him perform at the Super Bowl, everybody was sort of like, "Oh, he's just like the best to do it." And I'm like, "Please don't disrespect Michael Jackson." Like when it comes, it was an artist. Just don't do that. It's crazy. But there's a whole generation that don't remember him. Like I watched him live. Like no one. So if you didn't, you're not going to get it. Can we stop? Oh, sorry, that was City win today. I'm scared they lose today. Why would you, Chelsea? Chelsea fans, how the hell are you wanting City to win this league and do a 4-peat and create a record that none of our clubs are ever going to match? You need to explain that to me. You got to explain that to me in terms I understand. United won't win anything big until the media leaks stop. The leaks have come out before big games or in tough patches are detrimental to the team. I think that's a fair point. I think it's part of that problem. Milan here says maybe it's some kind of superstition not to engage with team mascots before the game. Could be.
Oh, he shook the kid of the hands of the kid before, bro. That's not.
Oh, there we go. There we go. It's a good shout. Terry, when you start in the data terrace with the American guy Will, I want to see 2 types of XG, one with and one without rain. But do you know what I'm actually want to do? I want to do this with Will. I want Will, based on these data, because I'm paraphrasing slightly, but Will sort of believes that Spurs will be better than Arsenal next season based on underlying data that he's put together. So I want Will to come out with 10 predictions for the next 12 months and then explain why on data. And then what we're going to do in a year, we're going to time capsule it. And then in a year's time, we're going to see, did it come true based on the data, not based on another factor that came into play. And we're going to see if the data really can predict the future of football. I think that's the best way to do it.
But what if there's a lot of rain that season, Terry? There might be more rain than anticipated.
But by the way, that's what I think will happen. I think it will be, well, this is what I predicted, but based on the data, but then the data changed. It's like, well, exactly. That's why maybe that's why data isn't the best reason of making a prediction a year in advance, because it will change. This here says, but Mo, to counter your argument, Mckenna wants to be working with championship players like Company had to. I'm not saying it's a lock, but might not be too bad. Yeah, Mckenna was managing better quality players. He could transfer his style.
Yeah, but it's an uncalculated risk that Man United don't need. Like not now. The guy doesn't have a lot of experience. I get what you're saying. It might. Okay, so just get De Zerbi then. Better. Get De Zerbi then. Better than Mckenna. De Zerbi
again. I don't mind the idea of De Zerbi, but where is De Zerbi looking like he's going? He looks like he's a shoe. And this is my point earlier about why are we going for certain managers. It looks like he's going Bayern Munich, and I don't think Man United could stop Almiron or Potter or De Zerbi going to Bayern Munich and Liverpool respectively, where we sit in the football world right now. So that's why I think there's an element of Man United fans here learning to understand that as much as we are huge, but we are not where we want to be, and it is hard. I think, Mo, as much as you're not saying it now, I think you were right 5 weeks ago when you said we're not an attractive proposition to the the managers at the top of the list. And
there is another element to it, Terry. You know what? There's another element. There's another element to it. I'm watching Xavi at Barcelona, who won the league last season, right? Like Xavi was in Qatar. He was training in Aspire Academy and in Qatar and all of this. He's the student of Pep. It worked a little bit with Barcelona last year when the majority of his players were fit. But it looks like it gone stale this season and the majority of the fans want him out. So I'm going to put a hypothetical to everyone here. Xavi is leaving Barcelona. Amorim leaves, goes to Barcelona, goes to Liverpool, and Xavi's out of a job. Man United approach Xavi and hire Xavi. Xavi's trying to play position-based football. Well, there's Marcus Rashford, there's Garnacho, there's Bruno Fernandes, there's Rafa Varane, there is Lindelof, there's Maguire. Is he going to be successful? Is Xavi going to look at these players and say, well, I need £500 million to build a team that can play my style of football? Will De Zerbi say the same? Will Man United be able to offer him? Because Xavi might be available. And Xavi, by the way, doesn't have this resume, the fantastic resume. And Xavi isn't like that famous in the coaching world. I don't consider Xavi as one of the elite coaches. But Xavi can go to Manchester United. But it's also people need to look at the players. It's not only on Ten Hag. Yes, you want to see a style of play. Ange Postecoglou did it with Emerson Real and Ben Davis. You can do it. But it wasn't effective and they lost the games. But Spurs fans said at least we have a style of play. Are Man United players good enough to play any manager's style of play? Is not going to put the...
No, they're not. But I would rather someone introduce... And it's not about the manager's style of play. It's about the club deciding how we're going to play and we stick to that religiously. The manager's told this is how we want to play. We buy the players for it. It's going to take a couple of years to clear all the players out and bring them all in because the experiments have been done with buying whole squads in a year. It doesn't work. So it's going to take time, and that's where the patience is needed. This is here. What do you guys think of Thiago Motta to United?
I don't think it's going to go to United, to be honest. I think Thiago Motta... Actually, the reports this morning from Italy, and I'm not a reporter, I just read the news outlets. They say that Inzaghi might renew only for 1 year at Inter, or 2 years, and he might be replaced by Thiago Motta after. So Inzaghi might go to the Premier League as well if they pay him. So that is something like something else, to be honest. In my opinion, Thiago Motta. And again, too early, people. Too early.
Maybe.
Too early, bro.
Yeah. Great player, though. Great player. This from D. He says, you guys spoke well on the Gallagher issue. I appreciate that, D. Thank you very much. A big up, Judge Mo. Common sense, balance, willing to listen and change opinions. Refreshing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's always been the case on Straight Facts, isn't it not?
Well, not with Lawless, but fine.
No. Yeah, never. You will not make me change my opinion.
We've got a very serious question here, though, guys. Who is the better villain? John Kreese or Terry Silver? And if you don't know who these people are, stop watching The Terrace. You are done out here if you don't know who Kreese. And the younger generation should know now because it's all been brought back. Kreese or Silver?
I'm leaning towards Silver, the other Terry. They're villains, them Terrys. They're good villains. I'm going to go Terry Silver.
You know what we're talking about, right, Mo? You've never seen the Karate Kid or watched
Actually,
Cobra
never.
Kai. You've got to
Actually,
go.
never. I never liked that movie. Is that the? I never liked that movie. Actually, I started watching it and I stopped it in the first one. Right, it's 3 of them.
Yeah. Not the Jackie Chan, Jaden Smith one.
No, the older one. The older one. I never liked it. I was more when I was a kid of RoboCop. You know what I mean? Trying like stuff.
Yeah,
like
do you know? But that was like 18 rated. You know, I mean, I used to watch RoboCop as well, but
like RoboCop. I watched RoboCop like 89. That's my first actual movie to watch.
Mo.
No.
Fuck you. That's all I'm gonna say. Is fuck you.
Try and watch it again now you're an adult.
Yeah.
Though. Try and go back.
Probably I didn't like it when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I used to watch a lot of cartoons, though, Japanese cartoons and stuff like this. Anime, but I never watched Karate Kid actually.
Oh my days. A great film. But yeah, no, I would go with Silver. I would go with Silver personally.
Something cool about him. He's a cool villain.
Yeah. Although John Kreese was serious. I like they're both scary guys. Someone said Mo sends show to the Shadow Realm for that Karate Kid take.
I never watched the movie.
No time like the present, Mo. No time like the present.
Honestly, you should watch it and then. I mean,
and report to the football terrace.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, right? It's the Cobra Kai. It's a little cheesy, but it's great. It's just great, easy to watch. Loads of throwbacks, loads of feel good factor. They play the 80s music in it. Do you know what I mean? It's marvelous. And the final season comes out soon. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Ban Mo from Football Terrace now. It's true. I agree. D says rank these players. Kudos, Bailey, Gordon, Elise. Who's MGW? Why don't I know?
Morgan Gibbs White.
Kudos number 1, Kudos number 2, Kudos number 3, and then Bailey, and then Gordon, then Elise. No, Elise, for me, Elise is better than Gordon, and then Morgan Gibbs White.
Yeah,
I've seen Kudos yesterday, guys. I've seen Kudos yesterday. What the heck, bro? What is this?
I'd have Kudos number 1. I'd have Elise 2. Bailey 3, followed by Gibbs White, followed by Gordon.
Ooh.
Wow, you really don't rate Gordon that much?
Just pace.
Yeah, do you know what?
I never rated Gordon that much, but he's impressing me this season, to be honest.
He's decent. Yeah, Kudus is definitely by far and away number 1. Yeah, Elise he's
I'd like to buy him. I'd like to buy him.
100
should have got him instead of Anthony.
For
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We can do. We'll give you like 20 million plus Anthony. Deal.
No, you give us 200 million plus Anthony. You got to pay Anthony. You got to pay us some money to take him.
Did you see the report that Anthony is the player with the most dropped value? No,
I'm not surprised. Well, of course he is, because he was only valued at 30 million when we paid 90 million for him. It's the worst.
How much is he worth now?
18 to 20 million pounds, guys. Market value 18 to 20
crazy.
million pounds.
It's going to be a huge hit for the club. What are your thoughts on Spurs' financial results released yesterday? I haven't seen them. I saw Brighton's, which were massive, and they're going to be massive. Just really funny. After all them profits, their turnover is still only just over 200 million, and the profits and stuff are great. But the fact that there are still people out there that are like, spend it all. No, they can't. There's no money. They still can't spend it all on players because you create a wage bill that they then wouldn't be able to pay. So you'd go from, if they went and spent that whole 120 odd million plus some more on players, the wage bill would grow. Then a couple of years down the line, unless they sold all those players, they would then break profit and sustainability rules and be deducted points. It's just still crazy that people say this stuff. It's unbelievable.
I did see apparently Levi was looking to get some investment into the club. So I imagine that it kind of been positive financial results, and he's looking to try and get someone to invest in so they can actually spend next season.
No, I didn't see the results, the financial results. I don't know why I didn't see them. I didn't see it. I'm trying to Google it now. They make money, lose money.
For the actual amount of profit that Brighton made proves that football isn't a profitable business. and I spoke about this before on the Football Terrace. The people that say that FSG or the Glazers will take the money in their pockets, they actually don't. There's a famous podcast about football finances. Football isn't profitable for these billionaires. 100 million profit a year isn't a lot for someone that has 10 billion, for a company that is worth that much money. And Brighton, 180 something million profit, that doesn't happen. Liverpool turned about 40 million profit. That's nothing in the grand scheme of things. Just for people to understand, because people think they reach 700 million and 800 million and they think that's profit. They think that's the amount of money that people make. No, they don't. They don't make that much money. It's simple.
I haven't seen it. Send me a link to the finances. I'll take a look. I haven't seen them. Lawless, do West Ham finish above Arsenal?
The reason he's asking that, he's trying to say that I said West Ham would finish above Arsenal, which is lies. It's up on YouTube. Go check out Potts' channel predictions. I never said that. I said Arsenal would finish in like 3rd or 4th and West Ham would finish 7th. Yeah. These are the Arsenal fans. This is what they do. This is what they do. So, you know what I mean? I've never said it. I don't think it. It's not happening. But we have finished above Arsenal in the past. I will say that. But go find the evidence. Bring the receipts.
Google Bubba Watson green jacket. All right. Presentation.
This ain't going to be some sort of 2 girls, 1 cup thing, is it?
No, I Googled it. I don't understand what I'm looking for.
It's a guy in a green jacket.
Yeah, no, it's a golf thing, right? I get it. It's the green jacket you get for winning. I want to say it's the Masters.
I'm taking that there was some sort of handshake thing that I think this might be linked.
Send me the link. There's loads of videos that have come up, and I don't know which one to click on. But there we go. Before we move on to tonight's games, Arsenal linked with a move today. They've inquired into Bayern Munich about the availability of Joshua Kimmich. Bayern Munich have said, look, we're not willing to sort of discuss this until the summer. But it turns out that Arsenal want to make looking at him as a big target this summer. How good a player would he be in the Premier League, Mo? And do you think Arsenal stand a chance of signing somebody of his ilk and his quality?
Shh, don't tell City fans. City fans get upset when you say Kimmich and Arsenal. They think he already signed for Manchester City. I've had this discussion with a lot of City fans. Listen, Manchester City, I actually think that Arsenal have a chance of signing Kimmich. He'll be absolutely phenomenal in this Arsenal midfield. Would he choose Arsenal over Manchester City? I think that's the $1 million question, to be honest with you. Would he leave Pep and work with Arteta? Declan Rice did that to stay in London or whatever. If you wanna say that's the reason why he joined Arsenal. Joshua Kimmich is going to be fantastic for Arsenal. If he goes to Arsenal, I'm excited for him, excited for the club, for the team, because he provides experience. They lack that type of a player there, the leader. That is all. The leader that won the Champions League, the leader that captained Bayern Munich when Neuer is not there, the guy that captained sometimes the German national team. They want that. And I believe I think actually they put all their eggs on Kimmich basket. Declan Rice, Kimmich, and Odegaard might be a fantastic midfield. Also, Kimmich can actually play an inverted right back. He provides so many options for them. It's all about who's going to have the bigger pull in the summer. If Arsenal win the Premier League, I believe they will have a very, very good pull and have a very good advantage over other clubs. If Arsenal lose the Premier League and Man City win, I think Kimmich might choose Manchester City because guaranteed success. But it's Pep versus Arteta again, Declan Rice saga again, because City are definitely looking into him. Definitely looking into him. Pep managed Kimmich only 1 season, people. People that say that Kimmich worked with Pep was only the 15-16 season. Right? Before the 14-15 season. That's the only, so he managed only 1 year. Before that, it was Philip Lahm. The second year, Pep didn't coach him. So before he
that's a whole year. He could have created a relationship there, and he could look back at his time under Pep fondly and go, do you know what? I really enjoyed his training sessions. I know I get with Pep. That could be enough. You know?
Do you think anybody enjoys Pep, Lawless?
I think if you are a driven, ambitious player that likes to be pushed, yeah, I think you do. I think so.
So cringy. Did you see what he said to the media yesterday? Anyway, that's a different story.
He's the Pep hater.
Oh my God.
He lost his
So-
head. He really lost his
Oh
head.
my God. So
He
when
lost
he
it.
loses games, bro, the guy when he loses games, he really like he can't take it. He's a sore loser. Same as Klopp as well. He's a sore loser, bro. But to be honest, I don't think that would be a factor in Kimmich's decision. Kimmich isn't a young player, Lawless. I don't think it's gonna be a factor that he worked with Pep for a year. To be honest, I don't think so. I think it's gonna be about what the club will offer, the money that will be offered to Kimmich, how professional the project is. Both projects are very good, attractive, especially of course, and the guaranteed success. And like I think Man City are more guaranteed success than Arsenal, unless Arsenal people think that Arsenal can dominate the league, as I'm hearing lately. If Arsenal win the league,
Mo, why do we always overlook Liverpool? I've noticed that, right? Top of the whatever the discussion is when it comes about talking about winning, it's always Arsenal City, Arsenal City. Liverpool have been linked with Kimmich.
no,
as
they
well.
are the favorite. No, they haven't. Have they?
They have, yeah, they actually have.
I actually think because Jurgen Klopp is leaving, I don't think that Joshua Kimmich. I'm not sure if Liverpool aren't going to offer an all. Here's how I'm looking at it. Liverpool might not go to Kimmich and Bayern Munich and offer 50, 60 million for someone who's 28 years old or 29 years old. Man City and Arsenal might do that. I don't think Liverpool are in that. The way they sign players, the Sabozlai, you know what I mean? The McAllister, I don't think they're going to offer a 30 years old. He's going to be 29, 30 next season. I believe they might not offer that amount of money because they're talking about 50 to 60 million pounds for Kimmich. I don't see Liverpool paying that much money. It hasn't been the direction over the year.
Like new manager, they need to start bringing in that, and that is a position they need to start bringing in that.
I think Liverpool have got a chance, and in as I say in the reports, it's Arsenal, City, Liverpool that all look like they're interested in him, and they sort of have that position available. Liverpool, as an example, I wouldn't necessarily write them off. The problem with when it comes to Liverpool, when it comes to transfers, is as a club, it's also they are the best at keeping their transfers under wraps. And I've asked journalists that have come on the show, like, you got any Liverpool news today? And they're just like, so hard to get anything out of the club. They don't even like to speculate. So I don't think it's necessarily that Liverpool get forgotten about. It's the situation that there's very little that leaks. So it's hard to talk about it if there isn't really a story there. Does that make sense? But I think everybody would be in for Kimmich. If he's available for the right money, I can't imagine any of the top clubs in England, probably barring Real Madrid because of the plethora of midfielders they have, not looking at him, because I think he gets into everybody's team. He's that good a football player. And look, if Arsenal do get him, and then you've got him and Declan Rice in your middle with Odegaard slightly ahead, I mean, again, that just becomes an even more formidable midfield. The same with City, Kimmich and Rodri in the midfield together. And KDB looks a little bit leggy at the minute. I actually think that's where they need. I actually think City might also go back in for Paquetá again. Now that I assume all the betting stuff's gone away because he's still playing and he's.
I don't think it's fully gone away. It's dragging out a bit, but it's looking positive. But I don't think it's.
Yeah, the fact that other people, it's like it got done real quick. Where this is sort of like he's almost played a full season, and I mean, City might as well have signed him now because he's played the full season. It's crazy. So
they could be top of the league if they had him.
They could listen. I think they'd be top of the league, City, if they would have signed him or kept Kyle Palmer.
Lawless, is he better than Phil Foden in the 10 behind the forwards?
Oh, that's
is he the replacement for Kevin De Bruyne? Is he the guy to replace Kevin De Bruyne? Or because if the reports are correct, they are looking at Paquetá and they are looking at Kimmich. Kimmich is more of a next to Rodri, more of a number 8, or even a right back that inverts, right? Paquetá, from what I seen yesterday, and for the season when Antonio was injured, Paquetá moved a little bit way more higher on the pitch. Of course, in like irrelevant to where the West Ham players are. He, in your opinion, the Kevin De Bruyne replacement for the future?
That's a big shout, because right now I don't really put him as world class. I wouldn't say he's world class. I think he's versatile. He plays a 10. He play on the left. He can play in centre midfield. And yeah, he's a joy to watch. And he can be frustrating. His decision making can let him down at times, which we saw yesterday. He said he's been ill, but he just has them games sometimes. So I think that would be big shoes to fill, and I can't see him ever being as good as De Bruyne, like ever. But I think in that team, he's going to shine way more than in West Ham's team. Although you would have thought that about Phillips, but word to be.
What? Calvin Phillips. Oh my!
He's linked with Bayern Munich, by the way, which was hilarious. Phillips.
City are talking about still getting £30 million for him. I mean, that for me, that shows, by the way, how well run City are. That you can buy a flop, loan him out and flop, and still get loads of money for him. He's been absolutely horrendous, hasn't he? For you guys, just
gave our fans the finger and everything. Did you see that?
Yeah. Then I saw the PR yesterday.
I didn't like that from him, but yeah, I know. Like, come on, just go to the bus, bro.
This guy has gone from starting up front starting in midfield for England, being a player that everybody was interested in, the best manager in the world buys you, to being someone that West Ham fans, with respect, mock.
Do you believe it's Pep's fault or is it his fault?
A bit of both.
I looked at that Newcastle performance
under Bielsa. The guy was magnificent. Declan Rice used to be subbed out before him for England. People forgot that. Calvin Phillips was the guy in that midfield, and Declan Rice used to be the guy that gets subbed out. Right? Look at where Declan Rice is now.
With Rice, them two together, Rice holding and Phillips advancing, he was excellent. But I look at it, it seems like a mentality issue for me when I look at him, and it's like he's on there. He looks like he doesn't believe in himself. He's not giving everything on the pitch. I don't know if he's just checked out, really and truly.
He was never given time at Manchester City, though, because you cannot go for someone that was playing very well under Bielsa to that bad. Like he is bad.
But I think he was given. I think when it all comes out in the wash, he was given time. But Pep called him out for his weight, essentially, which means he's eating wrong or he's not working hard. And we know this because Omar Barada spoke about it. Obviously, it came out when he joined Man United, but they have like a 2-year limit at the club. Managers, players, coaches, scouts. You have a 2-year limit. Now they've seen an opportunity in January to loan him out. I think to try and maintain more value to sell him on, because they've probably got 18 months into that 2 years and gone, he's never going to be what we need.
No.
So and I think that's the right thing to do, because they bought him at 26. They're not making the mistakes my club has made, City, where you hang on to him for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. You can still sell him for some money. He's 28. Give him another year. Give him another year. You're eventually going to
depreciating, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like,
what do they buy him for? How much did he cost?
50 million.
50 million. So if you bought him for 50 million, was he being paid? Say he's paying 5-6 million a year. That means he's going to cost you 80-odd million pound over a 5-year period. If you can sell him now, 2 years in, and get 30 million pound for him, get him off your wage bill. You're not going to make a profit per se, but you're going to get a chunk back, and you're not going to pay him that wages, and that money then can be earmarked for someone else. You don't want him in and around your club for the next 5 years with no sell-on value, and you're paying him all that money, because it eats into your resources, and that's why City is.
Why Pep wasn't patient with him like other players? Why Pep was patient?
Because of his weight. I think because
actually commitment.
No, exactly. It's nothing to do with his ability. It's to do with his commitment. Generally speaking, I know people talk about body shaming and fat shaming, and if he's got mental health issues, then I wish him all the best. Right, that led to this. But if you're a professional athlete and your fitness and your weight are under scrutiny, more likely than not, it's your commitment that needs to be challenged. And if you're at the best club in the world with the best facilities and the best manager, that have doctors around you, psychiatrists around you, you've got a way out. I believe he's gone there and it's almost, it might have been an inferiority complex. Maybe I don't belong. It might also have been, I've made it to the top now, and stop working as hard as he needed to. And maybe he's unfortunate and he has one of those bodies where if he eats a few chippy teas, he has a few cream cakes, maybe the weight sits on him if he isn't working hard enough. And I think Pep's just looked at it and gone, no way. If Luke Shaw was at any other top club in the world other than Man United, he would not have been there a decade, especially after his injury problems, his weight issues, his fitness issues. They'd have gone, no chance. They'd have moved him on. And the thing is, it just, but yeah, I don't blame Pep for it. I don't blame City. I put it on the player. Unless new information comes out that shows that he had some real bad issues that were uncontrollable, fair enough. But yeah, it's on him. Some breaking news has just come out, guys. It says Man United have been monitoring Julian Nagelsmann. This news has come out today. What do you make of him going to Man United?
I mean, that's a much more established player, manager. When we're looking at managers to go from, managers in the Championship to managers like Nagelsmann. It's the manager merry-go-round right now, isn't it? Like you're just getting linked with every manager possible. But yeah, I would go in more in that direction and trying to go for the unproven, untested manager if I was Man United. Mo's face seems like he's like not rated it when he mentioned it. It was like he was not rated.
I'm not. Nagelsmann wears really good like outfits and stuff, so it would look very good on the touchline. He's so stylish and good.
He wouldn't, because when you're on the Man United touchline, you either wear a tracksuit or you wear the club suit.
Really? I thought Erik ten Hag had his own thing.
Does he?
He had the turtleneck.
He does, doesn't he? Oh, that's why he's failing.
Erik ten Hag wears his own thing.
No, you're meant to wear the Man United suit with the Man United tie-dye. That's why he's failing. I didn't even know. I don't pay much attention to that.
Julian Nagelsmann is, at least, to be honest with you, Julian Nagelsmann, what he's going to offer at Man United is discipline. What Erik ten Hag lacks, I believe, is the way he talks doesn't come across as a leader. And I'm going to repeat what I said before. I was speaking to Mohamed Kaloum before, the guy that played for Sierra Leone and played for Inter. He's a neighbor here in Houston. And he said that one of the biggest parts of you being a coach is managing a dressing room and being able to actually lead the players, right? That's, I think, what Erik ten Hag lacks. The way he speaks on the media, the way he talks to the players, he comes across as someone who doesn't know. He's not media trained. And I don't think he's a leader. I think Julian Nagelsmann can actually, at least, even if he might not be as successful as people think, I believe Julian Nagelsmann will make men out of some of these players that slack on the pitch. I believe, and Man United need that. As much as Chelsea need that, I believe Man United need this. It's not because of the lack of effort. I'm not saying that Wan-Bissaka doesn't put effort or some people down tools. I believe that they might do it sometimes. But they really need someone to make a man out of some of these players, someone to fight, someone to follow instructions and not play in their game, someone to follow a system and a plan, even if the plan is wrong, by the way. But you need someone that will stand up to everyone else, that will take the blame. If something happened, take the blame, not blame players, for example, not blame this or that. I believe Julian Nagelsmann can offer this. You can agree or disagree with his style of play. Is he successful or not? Anybody will win the Bayern Munich. What he did at RB Leipzig is good. But I believe you really need that kind of character. Someone who would be a leader.
I hear you on that. As a question here for Lawless, would you sell Paquetá to Arsenal for 100 million?
I don't want us to ever do any business with Arsenal ever again. Being with their fans is unbearable, whether it's signing players or selling players.
No. Quabs here says Xavi is playing with 16 and 17-year-olds and in a Champions League quarterfinal. If we beat PSG, we will get to the finals, in my opinion. Not a bad coach. He needs a team that can invest. Yeah, Xavi hasn't been helped by the ongoing situation at that club either. That is an absolutely fair piece of analysis. On tonight's games, are Arsenal going to go top tonight?
Well, I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't. If they don't, then we need to talk about how scary things are looking for Arsenal. Because if they're not beating Luton at home, they've got some bigger issues. So yeah, they have to go top. They have to. They must.
They will. Surely they will tonight. And by a comfortable score, would you say, Mo? Or do you see this being a close game?
Comfortable score, like 2-goal margin or something. But to be honest, the game today, it's going to be exciting. Against Luton is an exciting team to play against. I'm looking forward to the game. I don't think Arsenal will slip today, to be honest. I'm just looking at the Saturday game against Brighton. But it's at home. I think Arsenal will smash Luton. I'll be very surprised if Arsenal don't win today. A lot of people said that the downfall will start here after the Man City game. I don't think we'll see it. We won't see the downfall. Listen, Luton have a lot of injuries. If Arsenal don't win, then no excuses for Arsenal, to be honest. I actually believe they actually should rest some players for Saturday. Some players. They have to use the squad.
Yeah,
I don't know why people are saying players starting 11, and now Mikel Arteta saying Saka's fit. We'll just play other players.
I agree. I think they have to rotate a little bit because they've got Champions League games coming, and it's Luton at home, and Arsenal are winning this game tonight.
If you are struggling against Luton at home,
it's not about struggling. It's not about.
Let me finish. If you are struggling, if you're struggling against Luton at home, if you rotate 3-4 players or 2-3 players, I think you have a big problem.
Yeah.
The Champions League is coming,
and even if they struggle, because Luton have made a lot of teams home and away struggle. Arsenal will still win. As much as everybody goes, "Oh, Luton," they've barely won a game this year, especially away from home. Even at home, everyone goes, "Oh, they're so hard at home." They only won 3 home games. It's not as though they're actually taking the points. Arsenal have beaten tonight by at least 3 clear goals, I think. I think they will, Arsenal. There is that kind of theory going around. The Spurs fans said it on their match reaction show on the terrace last night, that it's April now, and this is where the downfall of Arsenal's season begins. Do you see that happening, Lawless? Are Arsenal giving you signs right now that they're going to have a collapse in them and fall out of this title race?
Not necessarily science, and I don't think this is the game where it happens, but I think it's going to come because they're playing like a game every 3 days. You know, that the fixtures, I think, and the congested fixtures are going to catch up with them big time, you know, between the Premier League and the Champions League. So I do think it will happen. I could potentially see it at Brighton away. I think that is much more likely. So yeah, I honestly, I don't predict them to win the league. I know you do, Terry. I don't predict them to win the league.
I predicted okay. Liverpool.
Fair enough. All right, fair enough. Okay, but yeah, so by our predictions, Terry, at this stage with how many games left, they've got to have their downfall soon, haven't they? Unless we predict that Liverpool are going to win every game.
Can I ask you a question? Because I know you'll take this. When you say downfall, expand on that for me, because
thank you.
That would no. Listen, I used your word, by the way, because you asked me about that.
Yeah.
Lord, is that smirk and that smile is.
Yeah, downfall to me is them what we saw last season. You know what I mean? Where they start to drop points in games they should be winning, right? And you start to see them capitulate a little bit, and they drop off. Where, you know, if they go to the last day and they don't win it, you can't really call it a downfall. They fell short, right? But if it goes a couple games in a row, and that's how tight it is, that's how the margins are. They could go 2 games in a row with no win. Then they start to look like...
I see no signs. I'm looking at this Arsenal team. The Man City game actually proves that Arteta now can play a completely different brand of football. Everyone says, I've never seen Pep Guardiola defend like this, right? Arteta has defended against Man City very deep. Positional players were very deep. And also created, I think, the better chances in the game at the Etihad. That proved that Arteta has plan B. That proved that Arteta proved people wrong, proved everyone wrong, that he can defend. He doesn't have to, that he's learning, he's adapting, right? So in my opinion, I see no signs of Arsenal downfall. If it happens, I'll be surprised. The only thing that can hurt them is if they go to the Champions League semi-final and the games are too much for them, too many. But you don't have the cup, so you'll have days off. So in my opinion, I think I see no signs, and I see a lot of people starting to say what Teresa said. The downfall is going to happen now, the last 10 games of the season. I see no signs. I see the people that are saying they're just hating. You just want it to happen, and you're hoping that you're right. You're given a hot take. You're given a take, hoping that it comes true and to say I'm right. I actually don't see, I don't see any signs of it. They literally went to the Etihad, limited Man City to 1 chance from a set piece, and the guy adapted. They still created chances. Yes, they're going to play against Bayern Munich. The only thing that I'm asking is the mentality. And again, they have had some games when they didn't win, and they went to Dubai and came back. And look at them now. 8 games on the bounce, went to the Etihad, didn't lose, played a good game. And I
Is
am.
there time for another Dubai trip, though, Mo? Is there time for another Dubai trip?
Why you're assuming that, Lawless? Why? Why you're assuming this?
I'm just
Why
asking.
you and the rest of the fans are assuming this?
No, but don't
Based
you?
on what?
Don't you worry about? Well, not worry, but don't you think that the fixtures playing pretty much every 3 days for them, right? Do you not think this team, and predominantly young team, do you not think it's going to catch up on them playing?
That's the reason. So your reason is the amount of games. That's your reason.
I think that's going to be a big factor. I think that is a big factor, and that's not the only reason.
Because is it because they have a thin squad or because they haven't done it before? Because I'm telling you from now,
all of those
Manchester City at the current moment, Manchester City, Pep Guardiola isn't finding his best formula. The formula that we saw last season, starting February, Pep Guardiola is trying to chop and change. Foden on the left, Bernardo on the right, Doku on the right, Doku on the left. Is it Rodri and Kovacic, or is it Rodri by himself? Is it Foden in the 10 and Foden on the right? We aren't seeing the same Manchester City.
Arsenal, so, Mo, there you go. I'll answer this then, because you're okay. We're not seeing the same. They're disjointed. You was just talking about the draw that Arsenal got like it was a win. They limited them to this chance. They went and got the draw, and you're talking about as if it's a win. When this Arsenal team has been hyped to the moon as a team that should be able to go toe-to-toe with a team like City, especially a disjointed team who haven't found their rhythm,
I think you're just a rival. Lawless, I think you're just a rival. No team in the world will go to the Etihad and be favorites, including Real Madrid,
saying be favorites,
Munich, including Liverpool, who are top of the league. You can't tell me that any fan around the world will, if Liverpool play Manchester City tomorrow at the Etihad and they get a draw, no matter how bad. By the way, I never said Man City are bad. Man City are still third in this league. Man City are 1 point behind Arsenal, so Man City still have the best coach in the world. I see no one around the world saying that any team should go to the Etihad and win, but Arsenal. It's the only team around the world that people are judging them. I
look at it this way. You are right. I was looking at the games when you said it. They're playing the 3rd, they're playing the 6th, they play on the 14th. They play on the 9th. Like they've got a lot of games coming up, Arsenal. What's interesting, and this is not, I take your point on board, is last year when it fell apart, what a lot of people spoke about, as in not Arsenal fans and Arsenal players, but rivals, was this is the problem when you're playing 1 game per week. You have too long to dwell on things. And I remember, I want to say it was Bernardo Silva. It may have been a different person in the Man City squad when he was asked, it might have been Gundogan, when they were asked a question of, have you not got, before Arsenal's collapse, he was asked a question, but you've got a lot more games coming up than Arsenal. What do you make of it? And his response was, no, we think it's better because you have very little time to sit and dwell. It's you play a game, you recover, you prep for the next game. So your mind is always active, and it's easier for you in these title races when you've got more games and less games. And that's anecdotal from one of the City players.
And I've also heard as well.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So I'm not again. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm really intrigued to see how Arsenal handle this. Do I think, again, I think when people say they're going to have a collapse or it's going to be their downfall, I think it's important to challenge them on what they mean by that, because I agree with you. They drop points in a few games, but so did the other two, and they miss out on winning the league by a point or two. I don't think that's a collapse. I don't think it's a downfall. It's just they weren't quite good enough to win the league. If, for instance, they're right now 2 points off top, superior goal difference, the league ends and they finish 8 points off top with a worse goal difference than the other two, I would look at that as a collapse at the end of the season, because you were in it, and then if with 3 games to go they're completely out of it, I would say that's a collapse. Right now, there's no signs of that happening. It's not happening tonight against Luton. I know people said at the beginning of it that they're winning that game against Luton. Brighton away is obviously a tough game for people. Brighton don't win a lot, but they also draw a lot of games as well. They don't lose a lot, Brighton. So I'm intrigued to see that one. Then they've got Villa at home. They've got the Bayern Munich game sandwiched between them. They've got Wolves away that's been tough. They've got a really big... They play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They play 8 games in April. And I want to throw it out there. I'm assuming if they beat Bayern Munich, there could be another game at the back end of April as a Champions League semi-final that's not currently in the calendar.
Yes.
Maybe. I'm not too sure when those dates are. So they've got a really, really busy April. And what I like about looking at this from the outside is you've got Arsenal fans obviously praying they win. And there are rivals everywhere. Like, please collapse. Please fall apart. It's going to be an amazing month. It's going to be amazing.
Collapse. Watch the world collapse if Arsenal draw Brighton. Everyone, including myself, will tell an Arsenal that going to Brighton away, who haven't lost a game at home since September, right? Man City and Arsenal both go to Brighton away. If Arsenal drop points, people will come and say, we told you so. Well, we're not looking at Brighton, who gave Liverpool a good game and haven't lost at home.
But what?
My predictions is actually both Man City and Arsenal will drop points against Brighton. I tell you what the problem is, Lolis. People judge Arsenal based on how their fans talk about their club. But I never judge a player. I judge them based on how I'm viewing the club. Because, by the way, if we judge Man City based on how their fans talk about their club, every point dropped from Man City is a massive failure. Every single game. Every game they don't score 5. Every game they don't score 5 is a failure.
City fans on City, very quickly before the end of the show, they play Villa tonight. They are at home. Villa's away record ain't great. Is this going to be a Man City win? Or could this be LB said on Shoot yesterday, if they don't win this game, he believes they're out of the title race.
LB's in very negative space at the moment when it comes to Man City. I think they win this game. I think they've got a very good record against Villa. But if they don't win it, are they out of the title race? Yeah, I mean, they're going to drop down to being distant third favourites. But to say they're out of it with all this football left to play, and we've seen them come from a lot further behind, I think it's rash to say if they don't beat Villa.
If they lose and Arsenal and Liverpool win, they would be 4 points off second with worse goal difference, and there'd be 6 points off top with a worse goal difference.
When's the last time goal difference decided the league?
No, I hear you, but what it means is they would need a 5 point and a 7 point swing with two teams with 8 games to go. So mathematically possible, but the probability of getting a 5 point and a 7 point swing with both of those teams
with 8 games
is
left,
huge. With eight games left, when you consider that Arsenal and Liverpool have only dropped points in 30% of their games this year, which means that their last 8 games, they would Liverpool would practically have to lose 3 of their last 5 games, essentially. And
I think actually if they draw if they draw today and Liverpool win, I think it's done for Manchester City.
Yeah, I think if they don't win tonight, they won't win the league. If they lose tonight, I will say they're out. I would say they're out of the title race. I think what they'll do is throw their eggs into the other baskets by then. They need to win tonight, which gives the game a really nice dynamic tonight because they're the favourites, and I think they'll win. But there's that little City are in a position now where they just can't make any more mistakes. No, especially with the only saving grace is that the other two play after them. So it would be if Liverpool and Arsenal played last night and already won, I think there'd be even more pressure because the numbers are there. But yeah, I think City will win tonight, though. I do think they'll win. Villa, look, they're a good team. It's the away. What's their away record saying? Let me just go and have a look at their away record.
They have a lot of injuries.
It's the fourth best. Yeah, it's the 4th best away record in the league, as you've mentioned. But just looking now at the preview, injury wise, they've got Kamara, Mings, McGinn suspended, Cash out,
Watkins is out until April.
Watkins is out. Yeah, it's going to be hard for them tonight, Villa. Yeah, City will win, I think.
Ramsey's injured. They have midfielders that played only 180 minutes whole season. So that he's going to start, called Rodgers on the left. He's 21 years old.
City winning. Haaland hat-trick. League 2 player hat-trick.
I asked a question yesterday. Would you take Haaland in your 5-a-side team? Everyone said no.
Liars.
There's a lot of
People are
Haaland hate going on these days.
It's weird. I've been defending him 3 or 4 days running, and I will. This idea that he's some mid. Do you know what I hate hearing? He's a mid footballer, but he's a world-class striker. Though he's a world-class footballer. Then, like footballers, playing five-a-side football doesn't make you a footballer. A footballer is a professional footballer in this game. But playing Sunday league football, doing street freestyle football, doing keepy-ups in your garden, playing in a cage with your mates. None of you are footballers. None of you are football players. You play a form of football, but you're not footballers. There's this notion that he's an average footballer. The irony, do you know what I'd love Haaland to do, right? All these online ballers that think they're better, get in a cage, and I bet he fucking destroys you. I bet he makes you look like a fool, right? I bet he ruins you in a game of football. I would love to do this. If I had the money, Elon Musk, if you're watching, let's get Standards FC to list their player of mid-Premier League footballers. Haaland up front. They'd probably put Rashford and McTominay in the team and all this, right? And then the guys that say that, because a lot of these guys think they can play ball, or these online, put them in a game together, right? And we'll do a bet. If they manage to not lose by more than 10 goals over 90 minutes, they all get given like £10 million each. If they lose by more than 10 goals, none of them are ever allowed on social media again. I bet they wouldn't take the fucking bet. I bet they wouldn't take the bet. Because the level of disrespect towards these footballers is mad to me.
The problem with that is that they are comparing a forward player. He isn't a goalkeeper. He isn't a defender. And when you compare him to the likes of even... And I saw a tweet yesterday when someone saying he's a 6'5". Why are you expecting him to play like a 5'9" Firmino or a 5'7" or a 5'8" Aguero? And I said, well, look at Adriano and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. These two were very big, with 5'4" and 6'4" and 6'4" as well. And they were very talented. And I believe that Erling Haaland has a talent of finding a way and a place in the box to score goals. Inzaghi used to be like this. Filippo Inzaghi, that plays for AC Milan. For people that are old enough, Inzaghi used to, when he dribbles 10 yards of the ball, he used to fall on his face, by the way. Yeah. Genuinely. But he was a good player. But the argument is, this guy, this is the statement that was put out yesterday. This guy should never be the face of football. Should never be the face of football. Should never be the guy that wins Ballon d'Ors. That's what people said.
But do you know why they're doing that, Mo? It's because we all like different music, right? And there'll be some people that don't like opera. And imagine if the face of music is an opera singer. For some people, like, why him? Why is it not these people that I prefer and like? The problem is with a lot of football fans is they have a preference of how they like it to look. They treat football how you would judge ballet, or how you would judge street dance, or how you would judge singing at a competition, where it's based on, did you hit that note? Does your line look right? Did you do that step correctly? Football isn't an art form, even though some players make it artistry. Football is about how good you are at your particular role of stopping goals from going in, progressing the ball, or putting it into the back of the fucking net. It's a game. It isn't an art form. And too many people judge it as an art form first and a game second. And I believe personally that is a wrong way round. I appreciate the artists. I appreciate the Ronaldinhos and the Zidanes of this world, the Paul Scholeses, the beauty of what they did. I absolutely get it. But football players like Haaland, and maybe not all have scored at his level, have been an integral part of our game for 130 years, and they will be in another 130 years' time. And I'm certainly not going to sit here with the small platform that I've built and going to enable the idea that people like him are not good footballers to ever become a goddamn thing. He's a very good footballer. He's not a good technician. He's not good at keeping up. He's not good at all the skills that people like. He doesn't look beautiful when he plays. But that's never been. And do you know how you know that's not what football players are judged on? Because that ain't what the scouts pick people for. The scouts and the clubs don't pick people purely based on that. It's just football fans. And why are we assessing football differently to how football is assessed internally? It doesn't make sense to me personally, other than your own preference, which is allowed. But objectively speaking, surely we should assess football in the same way that football is assessed by people in football, and not create our own logics like the rain. No, I'm joking, Will. If you're watching, Will, I'm joking. But boys, we've got a few super chats here, actually. This one says, thoughts on Gyökeres playing for Arsenal next season? Good player.
Is that
Very good. Why not?
what
Why not?
thoughts on that? He's playing. Is he? I mean, January transfer window must have extended because there's a lot of signings going on now.
Next year, he said next year. If he plays
Yeah,
for Arsenal next year, would it be good?
Oh damn.
Yeah, he's a very
Yeah.
good player.
It's one of them. It's you can say he could be good, but we'll reserve that. We'll wait and see.
This here from Cosin says, I've been asking for a defensive display for 20 years from Arsenal. This is true.
Yeah.
Kevin says the draw versus City helps the Champions League semi if we beat. Yeah, listen, I think it helps from a perspective of you can beat them over 2 legs now, theoretically. Although Champions League nights under the lights, they are a different feeling. They are a different game. And Dan, you'll know you weren't Champions League, but you'll know that those European nights you went and watched, they have a different feel to them to a league game. I don't know what it is. And that's where data in football's problematic. Because when you go to those games, you do feel a difference in the air. You smell it. You taste it. It's very hard to put your finger on what it is, but it plays a part. But earlier in the season, it was February would be the downfall. Then it was March. Now it's April. We know why that is. Everyone hates Arsenal, bro. There we go. Listen, Lawless, Mo, always a goddamn pleasure to speak football with you two. Viewers, please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you're subscribing as well. We're back tonight after the Arsenal and Man City's games. We'll go live after City's. It's about 45 minutes after Arsenal, so make sure you stay around for that. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.